Hello everyone, welcome to Startup Academy. So, in today's lecture, we shall be talking about the famous league that is All India Muslim League, or you can also call it Muslim League. So, for today's topic, you can write it down as unit as All India Muslim League, and its formation is 1906. That is after the partition of Bengal. So this is your unit, and this unit will basically comprise कि बनी क्यों थी, the objectives, formation, why was it formed, the causes and everything. So in order to discuss about its causes, let's start with the chapter that is All India Muslim League. You can write it down. All India Muslim League. यहाँ पर we shall be talking about the causes. सिर्फ causes के बारे में जानना थोड़ा सा important है because something that is forming out of nowhere. We all know that there was already existing, say, Congress. Congress was already formed in 1885, and in this Congress, people from all caste and religion were involved. Then why did Muslim find it very difficult to survive in Congress when it already included all the religions and it was serving everything? Then what happened? So basically Congress, the motto of the Congress formation was, first of all, they would be fighting, they would be just giving all the details that India wants this, and they would be representing India in front of the British government so that they could hear us and they could resolve our queries and problems. So that was the main motto of Indian National Congress. So first of all, it was working in accordance to the British community or the British government. But later on, when the British government did not give into the actual demands of the National Congress or the Indian National Congress, then they decided to work against them, against the government. That is why now the government decided, if this Congress will work against us, then we won't be able to survive in this community, in this state. Therefore, we shall move on forward to next step, and we need to divide them. Divide what? Divide the people. How can we divide the people? So first of all, that was the divided rule policy. From here only, British government brought in divide and rule policy. Divide and rule policy. And this idea came to the British government from the major factor. The major factor is, say, from the first major factor, that is rise, first uprise or revolt of 1857, when the British government said that there were public from all regions, like Mughal community was there, Mumtaz Hazrat Mahal was fighting from her own estate, and then every sort of religious people were fighting, coming on the ground in order to fight against the British community. From there only, the Britishers thought that if we really want to rule on this platform, on this state, therefore we need to divide them. So the first thing that came to their mind was the uprising. Uprising over here was from Mughal region. So you can see that uprising here was from the Mughal region. This was the first cause. Then British decided that we need to divide them. By dividing, the next thought that came to their mind will be, they would partition, say, Bengal. Giving the reason, in 1905, Bengal was partitioned, and in 1906 Muslim League was formed, and in 1907 you will be seeing a Surat split. So Surat split we would be talking on later on, but for now the important date that you actually need to focus upon is 1905, where the Bengal was partitioned. So in order to understand why the Bengal was okay over here, the Congress was basically formed by AOU. And when a All India Muslim League is being formed, here you have the leader as Morley Minto as the viceroy. So you need to remember this कि इधर थे आपके मॉर्ले मिंटो जी and here there was AOU. So पार्टीशन ऑफ बंगाल. अब पार्टीशन ऑफ बंगाल के लिए क्या कहानी है? पार्टीशन ऑफ बंगाल को अगर जानना है तो बंगाल क्या था? बंगाल वाज अ ह्यूज स्टेट, से लाइक दिस. Here there was Bengal, और Bengal के अंदर the partition was made like this. This was how the Bengal was partitioned, saying that the West Bengal and saying it as the East Bengal. East Bengal, the majority over here would be none other than but the Muslims, and over here majority would be Hindus. So Hindu got their portion, Muslims got their portion. When Muslim got their portion, they became very happy, saying that since we are getting a state, we are getting everything, why are Hindu public very afraid? Like, we already are having so many states. India is divided already into so many states. But when the Bengal is partitioned, then why are Hindus feeling so disgusted and they are so against this thought that Muslims are not to be given a state? Here, Muslims were very happy because they actually got their identity, they actually got their state where they could live, where the majority of the Muslims would be there. But Hindus were not satisfied, or say you can say that Congress was not satisfied, was literally against this movement. Therefore, now the drift came between the Hindus and the Muslims, and the saddest moment came out when the British government actually partitioned this whole of the Bengal. So this was whole of your Bengal when the British government actually partitioned it, saying that saying that it is quite big. We cannot rule over such a big state by giving a certain sort of government. Therefore, it needs to be partitioned so that the community could be separated. First of all, that was hidden and unsaid truth. But later on, they said that we are partitioning because we are not able to rule such a big state. Therefore, one government is not uh, sufficient enough in order to rule such a big state. Therefore it has to be divided, and on basis of division the public of Hindu and Muslim was again divided, and there was a drift cause because Congress was not ready for this division, but Muslims were feeling very happy, or they were like, we gained certain sort of independency, therefore they were feeling very happy. So here it was happiness all around, and here it was discontent and pathetic movement. It was pathetic movement, you can write. So people came on forward, like you would be saying there were various nationalists that came on forward. Assertive nationalists, we can say assertive nationalist. And in assertive nationalist there is a name of Bal, Lal and Pal. These three leaders came on forward, and they were like, we are against this partition, and they impressed the people, saying that we won't be allow the British government to separate us. But since it is a government and you cannot enforce your plans upon the government, and it was again a British government, therefore the partition was done. And these three leaders, along with other moderate and assertive leaders, of course, they came on forward, and there was a Ganga technique we call it. Ganga range was there, Ganga river was there, where people came from this side and people came from this side, and they tied a sort of rakhi sort. You can say that they tied a rakhi, symbolizing that we are not separated. You might separate us by the boundaries you can create, but we are not separated by hearts. And people coming from here were belonging to the Muslim community, and people from here belong to actually the Hindu community. So this was certain sort of, you can say, the happiness among the Muslim people was also there, but there were many other public who actually uh, were united during the mass movement in uprising against the British community. So that became another cause. So they partitioned the Bengal in order to divide and rule. So coming back to our causes, we have they partitioned the Bengal. Thirdly, the third state that Muslim League, the formation of Muslim League was that over here again the major cause like we can write it like here there was discontent among the Muslim family, among Muslims, saying that we tied Rakhis. We know that whenever there is a festival, we are a composite community. Composite community refers to a complex community where every community, every religion is given a certain sort of respect. In every aspect, all respect is given in all the terms, and then we call it that we are unity and diversity. So that was the fact that was coming from previous time also. So here the people now are facing that why did we tie rakhi to the public when we are Muslims? Muslim people do not celebrate such festivals, but now we celebrate like Diwali, we celebrate Eid also, we celebrate Ramadan as well. So happy Ramadan to all of you, Ramadan Kareem to all of you. Okay, coming back to the topic, they say that discontent among the Muslim family is also there, and why are we tying Rakhis, and why are we taking dips in Ganga? So Ganga bath was also taken by so many Muslim, by so many people, so that we can create a fresh bond, a reference bond. So during the Bengal partition, the Ganga bath was also taken. You can write it over here as Ganga bath was also taken. Ganga bath was taken. So why did we take all those things? So that actually discontented, that created a feeling of discontentment among the Muslim community, due to which they felt a need to create All India Muslim League. Third of all, the third major important factor that you come here. Okay. The third major factor that actually came to the mind of to the mind of the Muslim public was that Britishers misinterpreted or tried to create a misinterpretation of the history. Misinterpretation of history. We know that in the history we have so many periods. Periods say we have Vedic age and we have the Mughal age, of course. So what happens is when we have the Mughal age and when we have the Vedic age, Mughal age and the Vedic age, same. Mughal age or Mughal period and the Vedic period. Britishers said that the Vedic period actually belonged to the Hindu period and the Mughal period or Mughal age belonged to the Muslim period. And how did the drift came? Drift came that Mughal rulers were very cruel, and here the leaders were intellectual and very calm and intellectual. So this is how the rift was created between the Hindus and the Muslims on basis of the misinterpretation of the history period. Then another thing that Muslim community felt was that they were lagging in economic factors, economic and economic factors they were lagging, and they were lagging in terms of knowledge as well. Knowledge was not very sufficient because many Muslim people were not allowed to go to the school to grab the knowledge, to inhibit the knowledge that was being given. So they did not believe in the idea of Western education. They were very against the Western education idea. Therefore, they couldn't grab that sort of knowledge, what other people were grabbing or what other communities were grabbing. Another thing was the economic factor. Since you are not possessing that sort of knowledge, therefore, you will not be given that position in the community in order to grab the money or give the money. Therefore, the economic crisis were also faced by major of the Muslims. Also, the majority of the Muslims believed that we should be very strict towards our Islamic nature, and we should be sticking to those factors only. Therefore, that also became one of the reasons that if we want to move on forward, if we actually want to succeed in life or as a community, we need to come all together so as to form a league. Therefore, all these factors could be referred. Now come so this. So now what happens is, there was a renowned name, you must have heard about this renowned name, that is Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. This is the most renowned name. He is known for his intellectual, his knowledge, his high advocacy towards every religion, and his intimacy to not getting into the basic things and ideas. But what happens is, he is known Sir Sayyid for his own reasons, for his intellectuality, for his calmness, for his mindset, and for all the things and all the characteristics that he actually possessed. So what happens is, he was with the Congress, and he actually tried to draw in masses and helped the Congress in order to fight against the British, so as to get the British out of the state or India. But with time, what happens is, when time passes, the thing the thing actually are shown differently, because the Muslim party was actually drained by the British, and there was certain sort of theory as well, because there were so many factors. Britishers were actually trying to create a rift between the Muslim community and the Hindu community, due to which Sir Syed Ahmad Khan was also refrained was also taken aback from his motion in Congress. Therefore, he actually created, or we can say, he actually formed a certain sort of college now known as Aligarh University. Aligarh University. It is believed that Aligarh University is created only by the efforts of the Muslims and not the Hindus. But when this university was formed, he was majorly supported by the Hindu public, but due to the rifts created by the British government, as they were very successful, that's why what happened was, Aligarh University is now only turning out to be as the majority for the Muslim community and not for any other community right now known in the state. So what happened is, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan created a Aligarh University, and the principal of this university said that, or gave an idea to Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, that saying that, if you guys will be together and if you will be forming a certain sort of association, you can directly go to Morley Minto. Who was Morley Minto? As I've just told you, Morley Minto was viceroy at that point of time. So you can type as viceroy. So he was viceroy during 1906. We are talking in the years. So the prince, okay, I wrote wrong spelling of the principal. So, okay. Now, Morley principal said that you all should gather together and you all should talk to Morley. So, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, along with various leaders, namely the leaders, like Aga Khan, Nawab Salimullah of Dhaka. This is now Dhaka as, and it is in Bangladesh now. Bangladesh. It is in now. And Nawab Mohsin ul Mulk. So all these leaders, they went to Dhaka first of all to form a majority with Salimullah Khan, and then they later on went to Morley ji. What did Morley do with them? When they went to Morley, they, along with various leaders, they went to Morley. Morley was viceroy at that time. He heard him. He heard all of them. And when someone is in pressure, depression, suspension of most of the things, facing a lot of difficulties, the best thing one can ever do is to hear them all. So he heard them, most of their problems were heard, and very calmly he said that we shall be supporting you, but the thing that we need from your side is just the support. So from there, Sir Sayyid ji got an idea that why can't we just form a league? Why can't we just make a sort of league? Therefore, they formed a league known as League. They formed a league, or we can say community, where only Muslims were taken, and therefore it was religiously biased team which was known as Muslim League or All India Muslim League. So this was how All India Muslim League was created, and the major factors playing role were the causes. The causes were these, and that's how you can say that certain things were created. Also, you can involve over here the major factor of you can say assertive nationalism. During the period of assertive nationalism, Shivaji Shivaji started Ganpati movement or Ganpati festival, and Balji started which festival? He started say uh, Ganga dip or Ganga bath. Ganga bath was there. Along with it, another festival was also there, that was Rakhi festival. Rakhi festival that was majorly celebrated during Bengal partition. ठीक है. So the basic causes were these. पहले revolt of 1857 में मुगल witnessed कि बहुत सारे Britisher witnessed that most of the Mughal is participating and we won't be able to rule unless and until we separate them. Then was the partition of the Bengal. Then the misinterpretation of the history, giving wrong things, wrong details regarding the people, and in order to create a drift was there. Then economic and knowledge crisis were also there, and the assertive nationalism was there. Another factor, one more factor you can include in this, which says that the sixth factor, okay, this won't be visible. The sixth factor that you can involve, assertive nationalism was there, British. Okay, I was just getting it. Revolt of 1857, partition of Bengal, British misinterpretation, economic. Okay, creation of poems, stories, letters, magazines, or say articles that basically talked about one religion and talked against one religion. So creation of such things obviously rose discontent feeling among the public, and the public included obviously the Hindu public and the Muslim public. Therefore these were the major causes due to which Muslim community was formed. And how the Muslim community was formed? There was Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, who basically was towards the Congress side, but with respect to time certain things came to his mind and he started moving on out of the Congress team. And moving out of the Congress team, he realized that I should form Aligarh University. When Aligarh University was formed, the principal he met various other leaders at Dhaka. Dhaka, you can mention. He met various other leaders, and with that leaders, he went to Morley Minto, the viceroy. At that point of time, when he met them, viceroy actually heard them, and that is where they realized that if we are being heard by the British community, therefore we can form our own league, and therefore, thus the league was established, and this league or the community was known as All India Muslim League or Muslim Community. And that is how the establishment of Muslim India League came on forward. So Muslim India League came in. So this basically this league did never ever took a step to talk or to raise their voice to let the British out of the government. Why? Because they felt that British community will always support them. The major thing that they always wanted was just the support and to be heard. And when they met Morley Minto, so the thing that they realized was Hindus were always against them and British community was always with them. and they always wanted to support them. Therefore, in that particular meeting, they said that we would be supporting the British community because British government has promised to support us under the leadership of the Morley Minto. Therefore, the basic objective was not independence or not throwing the British out of the community, but it was to get over the depression that they were actually in, that they were drowning in, that we do not have any knowledge, that we lag in knowledge, or certain sort of factors. Those were another factor that they wanted to cope up with, that they had the basic support, that is the government support, which was obviously the, you can say, the tusk of elephant and not the actual teeth. And hence we can say that the introduction is this. That was how the that was how the Muslim League was formed. So coming on to the objectives. In the objectives, as I've told you, that they never talked about the independence, they only talked about the support system. They promised British the support and British promised them the support, which actually was nothing but a base online, so that we can just make Hindu and Muslim community separated. We can separate them on various parts, on certain parts, and hence we can rule upon this state for a longer period of time. So what they wanted, they actually wanted the protection of the rights and the loyalty of the British government, and prevent hostility between the Muslim and another communities. Hostile feeling are the feelings of revenge, jealousy, and we can say dushmani type of feelings, those are. So they said that if you will be having any sort of miscommunication, like Muslim are facing miscommunication regarding British, and British is facing miscommunication, then you can come directly to us. We will sort it out. We will patch up on certain pace, and we will meet up on certain pace. Therefore, certain things are to be left, those leaving things behind, and let move on other objectives, because we have various other objectives, and secure separate electorates from Muslim. So one more factor that we have, that was Morley Minto reforms. In the causes, you can mention that the Morley Minto reforms, that was the separate electorates, separate electro separation of electorates. Here we can mention separation, separate electorates were given. So that is also the basic cause for the formation of the Muslim League. Now these are the objectives. You can mark these objectives as important, because sometimes the question is asked, what were the objectives of the Muslim League? So in these objectives, as you can see, that they never asked for independence. Independence was never their basic objective. They just wanted the support of the British government so that they could establish their own community. That was the basic thing. Now we have the phrases. What were the phrases? So first phrase that actually comes or pops up is that moderate phase is there. Moderate phase was 1906 to 1913, and where pro-British stance and demand for separate electorates was given. Then in 19, that was the nationalist phase, 1913 to 1930. It is here, you can mark it as 1916 as important event, where Muhammad Jinnah actually joined All India Muslim League. This was the basic thing that is important, where Muhammad Jinnah actually joined the Muslim League, All India Muslim League. Then we have the communal phase, where two nation theory was invented and the Congress ministries were there. Also, there was the Pakistan phase, where Lahore Resolution was passed. This we will be discussing in detail later on. But up till here, you just need to know why Muslim League was formed. Then we have the important events. Important events was first of all the Morley Minto reforms, in order to separate the public, that is to divide and rule. Then we have the Lucknow Pact. When we come to the Lucknow Pact with the Congress, that you can mark it as important. In Lucknow Pact with the Congress, what happened was, we have लखनऊ पैक्ट के बारे में अगर हम जान लें, Lucknow Pact. Pact is nothing but an agreement. पैक्ट इज नथिंग बट एन अग्रीमेंट. तो क्या होता है लखनऊ पैक्ट के अंदर? द कांग्रेस वाज ऑलरेडी देयर. व्हेन कांग्रेस वाज देयर, कांग्रेस and all India Muslim League, they were actually against each other in majority of the terms. So most of the time they were always, not always, we can say that most of the time they were obviously against each other, because they actually supported the British government and they never supported. During the partition of Bengal in 1905, the partition of Bengal, for statement was given by All India Muslim League, and against community was none but Congress, especially the assertive leaders, Bal, Pal. Okay? So those leaders were basically against this particular thing. So now what happened was, during the Lucknow Pact that actually took place in Lucknow, obviously. So in the Lucknow Pact, in the Lucknow session, these two communities, that is the opposite community, actually joined hands, and they set an aim saying that we want complete independence. We want complete independence. And what was the, like, lagging factor? Like, you come down one step, we come down one step, and then we can join. So the basic thing that they actually came down upon was, first of all, the Muslim community said that we want seats in legislature. Knowing that Congress was actually against giving seats on basis of religion, Congress came down saying that we would be providing seats to you, for not to you, actually to the minor communities, say Sikhism, Buddhism, Jainism, Hinduism. Sorry, not Hinduism. Hinduism comes in the major community, and of course the Muslim or Islamic region. So we would be providing you the seats. That was the negotiation done by the Muslim League. And what did Congress demand in terms of that? Congress demanded that we need your support. किसके लिए? फॉर कंप्लीट इंडिपेंडेंस. ठीक है, तो जो भी ब्रिटिश कम्युनिटी या ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट रूल लेकर आएगी, वी वुड बी फाइटिंग अगेंस्ट दैट रूल, so that we can just throw the British out of the community. So that this pact shows that here Congress and AIML, that is All India Muslim League, came on together, joined hand in hand, and this was the very first time that they actually joined with hands. So here you can mark it as important that AIML, the leader over here was Muhammad Jinnah, and here the leader was Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Bal Gangadhar Tilak. ठीक है. So these were the two prominent leaders during that time, during the Lucknow Pact, and then they joined the hands. That's why Lucknow Pact is the most significant thing that has ever happened. Significant thing. Also in the Congress, there was the previous division. How come previous division we are talking about? The Congress basically consisted of the assertives and the moderates. We have talked about it in the previous lectures, not in detail though, but yeah. Assertives were those we believe in action, getting what we want via action, whereas moderates were those who believe that we would be filing petition, we would be asking for prayers, we would be waiting for their sympathy and gathering all the empathies. So this was how moderates and assertive, since they shared different objectives, therefore they shared same objectives, but the pathways were different. Therefore the Congress was split between the Congress was split into two parts. And in the before the Lucknow Pact, that was the basic session or the significant thing, because here Muslim League was combined with the Congress, and here the Congress, where it was actually split, now the Congress was all together. So three communities were combined during the Lucknow Pact. This is how this created we can say A scary thing. This was basically a scary thing for British, because even after putting in so much of effort, even after creating, writing poems, writing articles, publishing magazines and everything against those two communities in order to create a drift, then also the public was combined together. That was the against the mass movement was about to come, and hence the British was of course scared कि अब तो जाना पड़ेगा भारत छोड़कर. Okay, coming back to our this thing, then we have the Allahabad session. Allahabad address Muhammad Iqbal proposing the Muslim state. Muslim state was nothing but a reference for your Pakistan thing. Then we have another thing, that was the Lahore session. These sessions also we shall be discussing, but these are the significant things. So if the question comes, you can directly write all those things. So these are self-explanatory, obviously. Lahore session demanding the independent states were there. Then the direct action day leading to communal violence and partition of India and creation of Pakistan. This is important. So this I shall bring in another video. Then we have the role in partition. Advocated two nation theory under Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Opposed cabinet mission plan federal structure. When we talk about the federal structure, we shall be talking about the federal structure. The Constitution of India will talk about the federal structure or the federal nature of the Indian Constitution. So that is again a different thing, a part of polity. We shall be discussing it over there. Demanded sovereign Pakistan. Pakistan needs to be separated. So that was their basic aim actually, creating a special community for all the Muslim public. Accepted Mountbatten Plan, that was in June 1947. So we are not even close to this year. Then we have the significance. Significance was institutionalized communal polities in India, played decisive role in creation of Pakistan and changed the trajectory of Indian national movement. Indian national movement where it actually leading towards like mass movement, but then there was a drift, there was a division. So that's why Muslim League was formed, and hence it is quite significant. In order to practice the questions, you have the formation, trace the evolution, why was it like how is it participating from 1906 to 1947. So you need to tell about first of all the evolution of. Another thing that you would be telling is objectives, and then the events, important events that actually took place. So there was a heading that we just did, so that heading would include all of those things. Critically examine the role of Muslim League in partition of India. In partition of India, this you can answer from here as well. Also you can answer this when we will discuss the partition of India, that is formation of Pakistan. Okay, so that from that also you can answer this. Discuss the impact of Lahore Resolution. Okay, this will also come in another session. This is a topic from another session. So I hope up till now you know why Muslim League was formed, how it was evolved, and what were its basic objectives, why Lucknow Pact has its own significance, and what were the significant events that took place during the formation of the Muslim League. So if you are updated till here, then in the next video we shall meet up with the new lecture and the new series. Till then, stay connected and stay blessed. Thank you for